Hey everybody, it's Jim Johnson here, the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro, and welcome to the Contractors Training Room. We are super excited today because we've got a rock star on our hands. We've got Joseph Hughes here from Contractor Dynamics. This guy is an up-and-coming superstar in our industry. It's really cool, kind of his story and how he got into this. And I'm going to ask him to share a little bit of that first before we get into all the marketing strategy and tactics and those type of things, so you can kind of get to know him. But Joseph hasn't really been introduced to our community yet, so I've gotten to talk to him a couple of times. We've had a few phone conversations. I've watched him over time, and his morals and ethics and core values and things like that really align with us. One thing I know is he might be having a little bit of lag in time, so be patient as I ask him a question. You might see it just a few seconds later, and we'll get rolling. So, Joseph, welcome aboard. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. Honored to be here. Honored to be in the contractor training room and streaming live on Facebook and different platforms. So,
all right, cool. So you've got me.
right.
I'm going to ask you questions. There is a little bit of lag. Everybody will be okay with that, I think. So we're just going to go ahead and get going with the questions. So for those of you that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about your background and why you started Contractor Dynamics in the first place?
Sure. Yeah. I started Contractor Dynamics in 2012. So about 7 years ago, after spending a bunch of years growing up in my family's commercial construction business. So grew up in the construction industry, very different from a lot of the roofing and contracting types of businesses that are probably a part of this webinar here, a part of this training. But my family's business is 125 years old this year. Started in 1894, so I was sixth generation family member. Really awesome to be a part of that. And started when I was 14, working in a shipyard with barges and tugboats and heavy equipment and cranes and forklifts and welding and all that fun stuff when I was 14. And so got to learn some skills, got to learn some life skills out in the shipyard with people from all over the world. And yeah, just kind of had that in my blood. Worked in the office after I graduated college in 2003. The headquarters is here in New Jersey, and really learned a ton as a smaller business, probably like 30 or so people in the company. Learned to do a lot: operations, marketing, sales, banking. We're always borrowing money to buy equipment and invest in equipment and everything like that. So got to know a lot of business and just kind of got to the point where I was about 30 years old in 2012-ish. And I just had the entrepreneurial bug. Nothing against the family business. I love my dad and my uncles are the the three owners. Got along well. Really grateful for having that opportunity. But like many people here that are business owners, sometimes it's just inexplicable. We just have that itch to go out and create something on our own. And so I did, and I had that construction background in my blood. I had a passion for marketing. I had gone to business school. So figured why not combine, not overcomplicate it, right? Keep it simple and combine the two things that I have an interest in and a background in. And that's how Contractor Dynamics began back in 2012.
Awesome. So you actually had a lot of marketing experience before you even started Contractor Dynamics, just from the history of working with your family business. That's really cool. That's a neat story. Like, yeah, we all have this kind of thing. Like, you look at us as entrepreneurs and we're kind of coached by our parents and stuff, follow this path, start at the bottom of the ladder, work your way up, that kind of stuff. And I didn't think that sounded like the way I wanted to do things. So I went out and started my own stuff. And it seems like you kind of followed the same path. That's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah.
So we always ask this question. We want to start asking this question of any of our people that we do these interviews with. What's your biggest achievement to date, not including anything with your family, like having babies and getting married and stuff like that? Like, what's your personal biggest achievement today?
Yeah, so I guess you include that because everyone says family, right? So you want to kind of get around that.
No.
Yeah, of course, family. Well, can I use two things, personal and professional?
Sure, absolutely. We give you an out that way. That way, if your family ever does see this, you go, why didn't you mention me? Well, we give you
I wasn't allowed to. Yes, coach said I wasn't allowed to. So I brought a prop actually. I actually, random fact, I played rugby for the United States back in I don't know, a bunch of years ago when I played. So I started playing in Boston when I went to college up there, and I played for a team in New York City. We were in a national league, and then I got the opportunity to represent our country. We went over to Australia, went to South America, did had a bunch of opportunities there. So that was a fantastic experience. I hung it up a few years ago, and I had a few concussions, and my wife was like, "All right, got a family now, like concussions." So in retrospect, I do miss it, but that was a good decision to, keep my brain intact. So that's my kind of personal thing. And then professionally, something happened recently, which is really cool. I was invited to speak at an event, a private event for Beacon Roofing Supply out in Tucson, Arizona. And they had what's called their Voice of the Customer event, where they bring in some of their top roofing company contractor clients throughout the country, and just kind of have a roundtable and ask them how they can serve them better and what they need. And one of the things that they had replied to on the survey is that they're looking for help with marketing. And these are some of the biggest companies in the country. And so I was honored to be one of the guest speakers there and do a workshop there for a group of about 60 people. So professionally, that was something that I was really excited about. So there's two things.
Those are two pretty darn good things, man. Rugby, like that's a brutal sport. I've gotten a chance to play it a couple of times. I had a brother-in-law that played quite a bit, and then while I was director of sales at Acumen, there was a couple of guys that played there as well. And I'm like, man, you guys always have like broken bones and slipped out knees and twisted ankles. I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily want to play. So kudos to you, man. That's quite the accomplishment. Well done.
Yeah,
Especially
thanks.
playing for our country. That's super cool.
Yeah, it was an honor.
So what's the passion or the purpose behind Contractor Dynamics?
So I like to tell, kind of answer these in terms of stories, right? Facts tell and stories sell. So we had a couple clients this week reach out to us after we run training for roofing companies, marketing training. And we had a couple of our clients reach out to us via email and Facebook and thanking us up and down for really helping them understand what they were doing in terms of marketing their businesses and getting a lot of clarity. And I love that. Our team loves that. When our clients win, that's when we win. So that's our passion, is to really help our clients gain an understanding of something that's so important as marketing, and really be able to take control of that and improve not only their business, but improve their lives as well by having a better business. So we love teaching our clients, educating them on how to take control of their business and build better businesses.
That's awesome. And it was kind of one of the things that aligned us with you, is we're all about coaching contractors to win. That's our purpose. It's why we exist. It's why we wake up every day and do what we do. We want to help them be successful. And we saw the same thing in you. And you kind of do it a little bit different. Although you can help them with their marketing, you also coach and teach them how to market better and understand it, and really understand the strategy behind it. So that brings me kind of to my next question. How would you define a marketing strategy?
Okay, so marketing strategy is really your overarching, it ties into your business strategy and your vision and everything like that. So it's really your game plan for how, like what you stand for, your value propositions, your ideal clients, the target markets that you want to serve. So that's kind of your broad strategy. As we get into like 2020, get into the new year, I think it's more relevant to talk about like, what's the marketing plan? And the marketing plan is really based on that strategy. And the plan is the logistics. It's actually the nuts and bolts of like what marketing channels are you going to hit? What target markets are you going to hit? How are you actually going to do it? What's your budget? How much time are you going to spend on it? So it's really imperative to have that plan, because what we see in the contracting industry and a lot of industries as well, but we focus on roofing and contracting, is that a lot of companies will just try to do marketing, but they don't necessarily have that plan, and they don't start with the end in mind, and they don't have they don't have a plan. So just kind of throwing things out there and seeing what works and what doesn't, and a lot of times that ends up in frustration. So your plan is going to include, like, it's going to start with the end in mind. Like, what is it that you want? Like, if you're looking at 2020, what is it that you want? Like, what types of clients do you want? What types of projects do you want? How many of them do you want? Where do you want to serve? Is it going to be residential, commercial, multifamily? What types of business partnerships do you want to do you want to go after? Do you want to formulate? So when you're doing marketing, like you can be proactive about these things. And when you're not really doing marketing, when you don't have a plan or a strategy, you're kind of at the mercy of just taking what comes your way, taking what you get. And referrals are awesome. We all love referrals. They're the best leads and the best customers we're going to get a lot of times, but those can be uncontrollable. So if we're a local service business, you might get a referral that's an hour away, or you might get a referral that's not really an ideal project, but you kind of take what you can get. So when you have that plan and you execute that plan, you can be more proactive and laser focus on what you're getting.
That was an excellent explanation of what strategy is. It's just, overarching, what's the thing we're after? Like if you can figure out, hey, what you're after, you can start to work it back from there with a plan and then apply specific tactics to that plan based on what that end goal is. We see that much the same way. So that's pretty cool definition that you have there. So I get this all the time. You see this branding and lead generation side of things. So my question for you, what's more important for a contractor to consider? Should they be more worried about branding themselves and getting their name out and that type of stuff, or should they be more concerned about lead generation when it comes to marketing strategy?
Well, I think it's helpful to define branding and marketing and lead gen. So branding, it can mean a lot of things. I mean, some people think of like your wrap truck or your logo or your hat or whatever. Branding is really getting people in your market to know who you are, like building that know, like, and trust in your market, being a recognizable name in your market. So whether it's a service provider like Contractor Coach Pro or Contractor Dynamics, or if you're a local contractor serving a local area, it's getting people in your area to know who you are. So you're one of the go-to contractors. You're the choice when people need a roof or need something done that you provide. So that's branding, and marketing is really building that brand. Is the process of getting people in your market to know you. Tends to be somewhat of a longer term thing. Lead gen, now lead gen can be short term. You can go out and buy leads. You can go knock on doors. You can do advertising and things like that. We focus on branding and marketing, because branding and marketing is going to create leads anyway. The thing with marketing is that marketing and branding are going to produce leads. They're going to produce better leads and better customers, because they're going to attract the types of people that understand your value proposition. They've seen your content, they've seen your marketing, they understand that you're not just any chuck in a truck. And that's a big thing. We don't want to be a commodity. And when you get people calling you who know, like, and trust you, then you're going to get less price resistance. You're going to be priced up less. You're going to lose out on fewer jobs to inferior contractors who aren't going to do as great of a job as you will. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on your sales team and make them very frustrated. And when you have frustrated people out in the field, then it can lead to client dissatisfaction and unhappy customers and bad reviews. And it can kind of be a downward spiral. But when you have those people who are contacting you because you've done the marketing and they are like, I want to work with those guys because they seem reputable and trustworthy and they have great reviews, that's such a better proposition than just someone calling you because you can put on the roof and they're asking like how much per square or how much does it cost. So we always focus on building quality over quantity. Branding and marketing are not only going to generate customers, but one thing that a lot of people don't think about is that you're also branding and marketing to recruit and to build your team. Because the top people out there, they want to work with a company, they want to work for a company that can show, that has their act together, that has some systems that can show them a brighter future than they currently have themselves. So when you're branding and marketing, think about it as not only marketing for customers, but marketing for recruiting as well.
That's awesome. So if I understand branding right, like most people associate it with what you said, like the wrap trucks, the hat,
Yeah.
logos, and stuff like that. But really, I think you should almost change the word from branding to reputation. Your reputation building, and that's so valuable. It takes a long time. Like building a reputation takes a long time to do it. We've tried to work hard at it. I can tell you've worked hard at it. But when you do, and you have a reputation that you can stand behind, things tend to get a little bit easier on the other end of things when you start talking to people because they trust you, they know what you're all about. So I think that was a really good way of putting it. The other thing I want to say before I ask you the next question is you guys that are watching, you're on Facebook, you're here inside the webinar, you can ask questions, and we actually have one right now. So we're going to go ahead and answer that question if that's okay with you. And the question's from Jake Dempsey. Any tips on changing culture in a company to embrace better marketing if you aren't used to doing so?
Okay, so I'm on the hot seat. Thanks, Jake. Great question. We're actually, I spoke with a roofing company owner last week in the Midwest, decent sized company. They're like 20, 25 million or something like that. And he's like, yeah, we have all like our sales reps and guys out in the field, guys and girls out in the field hosting, say on Facebook and sharing their jobs and things like that. But he's like, we have no like cohesive kind of strategy or message or look. So we're talking about helping them out with that, like having some guidelines, like, hey, if you are going to post on Facebook or you are going to share your work, then here's some guidelines to use. So we have that consistent look, and we're also controlling that reputation and looking like the professional company that they are, and not just kind of out there winging it. So changing a company culture, I think that I think one of the biggest things to get buy-in really from your team is to when they start seeing the results of this stuff. So like if whether it's investing in sales training or investing in like technology or marketing, when your team starts to see how it's making their jobs easier and how it's making them more money and how it's making their lives better, then it's going to have that snowball effect. So it's like, hey, you did this video, you put this out on Facebook and you ran it as an ad and you got these leads, it turned into customers, it turned into more money, more sales commissions, if that's the case. And they can see that, and then people are incentivized to do more of that. So I think that can be just building a culture around those, whatever your core values are, and getting on the same page with those. And then as far as branding and marketing, just making sure that you have like some brand guidelines, like what you stand for, types of language that you use, language that you don't use, things like that. Does that answer your question, Jake? I hope.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of throw something in there as well. When it comes to culture, it revolves around several facets of who you are as a business, the why you do, what you do, and how you do it. And there's this dream aspect, like what's trying to be accomplished. There's a vision, a purpose, core values, and mission. And I would be, if I was somebody that was trying to convince my company to market more or do it differently or do it better, I would attack those areas of, does it align with our vision and our purpose and our strategy and what we're after? If it does, it's something we should look at. And I'd be looking at that mission, this 1 year strategy of we're trying to accomplish this thing. And if we're going after that thing, how does marketing play into that? And what should we do about marketing to bring that into the fold where it's part of that strategy? And so hopefully that helped answer your question, Jake. You got kind of double answers there, and they probably hopefully built off of each other. Kind of a little bit of teamwork there. So,
Yeah.
um, all right. So that kind of handled the branding and lead generation aspect of things. It seems like branding is the thing that you're a little bit more focused on, knowing that if you brand yourself right, you build the right reputation, leads will come. And I couldn't agree more with that. I'm kind of a lead generation guy though too. I like to see I like to see some leads as soon as possible. And so, are there any tips for that? Like if I wanted to get leads quickly, is there anything that people could do, or is it something where, hey, this is going to take a little bit of time?
No, no. I mean, that's a very common question. Like we'll be on the phone with a prospective client, like, yeah, I get it. This is awesome. It's exciting. So how quickly can I start getting leads? Like that's kind of like the bottom line. So yeah, I mean, this is a long-term thing, but at the same time, we get it. Like you're investing in something or you're trying something new. If you're doing it yourself and you're like, you always want to get that feedback loop because you want to know that you're on the right track and you're spending your money and your time in a judicious way. So I would say like, getting tactical, like transitioning from strategy into tactics, again, like getting clarity on exactly what you're after, like who are your ideal clients and projects, build that customer avatar, like who is that perfect client that you're going after. And so you figure that out, like you start with the end in mind, and then think about what that person, and I know, Jim, you're a Frank Kern fan, and I think you guys may have done some work together, and he talks about this too. Like, think about what that ideal client, think about what types of information or knowledge education they need to make an informed, intelligent, smart decision, whether it's about their home, their business, their personal life. Just think about the knowledge that they need, and then put that in front of them consistently. And the way that we do that is that we propose to do that is with video. 90% of communication is nonverbal. So it's your tone and your body language and the way you come across, your eye contact, and all those sorts of things. So video is a great way to connect with your market because it builds know, like, and trust. Most of the digital and social platforms are going to favor video. So if you are sharing video, you're going to reach many more people than with just, say, like an image or some text. And really, basically, most contracting roofing companies aren't doing video. And if they are, they don't really have a strategy and they're not doing it effectively. So just the mere fact that you're doing it is going to be a huge benefit. And then as far as like, we're huge on consistency. So like not overcomplicating it, like really focusing and just doing it, maybe it's not every day, but consistently several times a week. And I always say this when I speak at events, like, the companies that are going to win with marketing are the companies where there's someone inside the company, like ideally a W-2 employee or an owner, that's waking up every single day thinking about how they can market their company better. Maybe it's something internally with building culture, team building. Maybe it's something externally. But there's someone that's waking up every day and thinking about marketing, kind of what you mentioned before, Jim. It ties in with your vision and who you are and why you do what you do. It's not an afterthought. So just doing those things consistently over time is going to get you the compound effect of those small efforts put in every day. So that's kind of our game plan, to start with your ideal client, figure out the types of information they need. And how do you figure that out? That's just as simple as taking the FAQs from your prospects and clients. Like, what questions do people ask over and over again? Turn those questions into answers, answer them on video, and start putting those out on the internet. And that's a very pretty simple strategy. I'm not saying it's easy because it requires work and a little bit of time, but it's a pretty straightforward strategy for getting out there and building your brand.
Excellent. Well done. So you mentioned Frank Kern. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, we're big fans, and it's funny. Like, we're a coach. We coach contractors. We teach contractors business strategy and how to develop their holistic strategy for their entire business, marketing, sales, you name it. And we align ourselves with folks like you to help build on that and make that thing even better than we could do on our own. But I thought one of the things that Frank said that was really kind of enlightening is, whatever it is that you do, like, you're putting this out there, especially when it comes to video, it shouldn't be about you. It shouldn't be about, we've built this many roofs, we've been in business this long, that kind of stuff. It should be about, this is what you deal with. If you are this person and you've dealt with this, these are some of the things, and provide value to that person that they can make some educated decisions with. You'll get a lot more from that than you will talking about you. If you talk about them, it'll be much more beneficial. Would you agree with that, Joseph?
Wholeheartedly. And let's go into a couple examples if we're going to talk about roofing real quick. So we see a lot of, like, whether clients or other roofing companies, they'll do a video. It's like, hey, make sure that the roofing company you hire goes down to the decking when they're doing a re-roof, right? Make sure that's the case. But the thing is, like, if you're in residential roofing, like, most homeowners have no idea what decking means, and they don't know why that's important. So, like, they don't care unless it's like, what's in it for me, right? What is decking? Why do I care? So you have to kind of go a level deeper. Like, what's the implication? Okay, well, if you don't go down to the decking, then you never really know if there's any issues, if there's any rot, any gaps, or things like that that can really compromise your roof in your home. So, a great contractor is going to take the underlayment and the shingles down to the decking, strip everything, inspect the roof to make sure your whole system is good, and then they're going to re-roof from there. So that's kind of framing it in terms of, like, what's in it for your client, or what's in it for someone that might be consuming your content. But yeah, absolutely. You always have to, like, think about, if someone's watching this video that I'm going to put out there that's a minute long, are they better off after having watched it than they were before? Are they more educated, more informed, more entertained? And you got to ask yourself that question before you hit publish or hit post.
So I'm asking myself that question right now as we're doing this video. And, are the people that are watching this better informed and educated? And I think one of the things that, if I was going to pick a key point to this point and what we've been talking about, there'd be a couple: branding and reputation being super important, got to focus there. And that if I'm a contractor, I should be marketing with video. Would that be fair to say that's probably the two things so far that we've uh, come to?
Yep.
Okay.
I would say so. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So does the size of the contractor make a difference in the strategy that they're going to go after as a contractor with marketing?
I really don't think so. And I know you sent me this question yesterday, and I was giving it a lot of thought. And I mean, we have clients they're doing 1 million a year. We have other clients that do 100 million a year. And honestly, they're all after the same thing. They're all sales-driven organizations, which is fantastic because they've grown great companies, and they're trying to figure out this marketing piece. So it's not necessarily how big they are. It's about like where their ideal clients and customers are, which increasingly are online and say social media, and how are they going to go through the steps that we've outlined thus far to reach those people and get some value in front of them. So yeah, of course, the bigger company is going to have a bigger budget. Like if you're smaller, then and your funds are limited, I know, like starting a business, every single dollar counts in any business. Really, any dollar counts. But you're going to maybe have some more time to focus on this stuff yourself, which is really important. Like building some of this, getting some of this understanding and building some of this we call marketing DNA out into your business is going to be extremely important. Um, so regardless of the size of your company, I would say, take some time to understand this stuff beyond this webinar and this training. Take some time to understand marketing and how it works. So whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're hiring an agency or maybe it's a combination of the two, then you at least know it's necessary in this day and age. You can't just, in my opinion, go out and hire a marketing company and expect them to produce amazing results if you're not like bringing anything to the table and you're not participating. So that goes back to what I said, like someone in the company has to be thinking about marketing every day. Yeah, as far as the size of the company, I mean, you're going to have a bigger budget. You're going to be able to go out there and get results much more quickly. But if you're a small company, then our recommendation is always to focus. So like, let's just use Dallas as an example, roofing capital of the world or the country, if you will. If you're a smaller company, even a larger company, they don't try to market to the entire DFW Metroplex. Pick a town, pick a county, pick an area that you want to focus on, whether it's close to your office or whether it's like a high income area, whatever, and just focus on trying to own that area instead of trying to cast such a big net. Not only are you going to enable your marketing efforts and dollars to go further by focusing locally, but when you use like the town name in your messaging, like Frisco homeowners or Plano homeowners, it's going to connect with those people and on a much deeper level than just like, hey, Dallas homeowners or Texas homeowners. So the more specific you can be, the better. Does that
Yeah,
answer your
man, well
question?
done. Hey, I'm just sitting here like taking it in, and the funny thing is, there's a reason I do these. The reason I do these is I'm here to gain knowledge and then take action on that knowledge so that I can serve others. That's really what we're at and about at our core is how can we provide better information to contractors so they can do their thing better, get some value out of each time that they interact with us. It's really and truthfully, like I know it sounds like a shtick, but it isn't. It's I've done very well in this industry. I want to give back if I can, and so man, those are spot on. I'm like high fiving over here. I'm even taking notes. These are great little nuggets for these guys when it comes to actually having a strategy and some of the tactics you might use. Now, okay, so let's give them kind of one of those top three things. What are the top three things a contractor should consider when developing a marketing strategy?
Okay. Well, the top three things again, like get some clarity on this. Consider that you're going to have to spend, you as an owner or someone in your company is going to have to spend, a handful of hours every week on this stuff. Call it 2 to 6 hours every week on marketing. That's a very conservative thing. You can spend a couple hours every week working on marketing your business. Kind of get that into your mindset as we get into the new year. That's going to really serve you both in the short term and the long term. And I guess another thing would be just, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And I know that's a big thing that holds a lot of people up, especially on video. If you're on this webinar and you're like, man, I'm not the type of person to get on video, that's okay. It doesn't have to be you. We have, plenty of clients. The owner is on there as the face of the company. And then we have plenty of clients who the owner is nowhere to be found online. He or she wants to remain kind of behind the scenes, but there's always someone in a company that secretly wants to be like a social media star. So find that person that's going to be comfortable on camera, or those people that are going to be comfortable, and they can be kind of your brand ambassadors. But don't worry about, putting yourself out there and looking like a fool or not looking polished. It's like I always say, it's like going to the gym. Like, you're not going to go to the gym the first day and just lift 500 pounds. You are going to go there every day. You're going to get a little bit stronger, get a little bit better. You're going to get those reps in. Same with marketing. Like, you're not going to be perfect. Marketing is testing. It's putting out messages and putting out offers to see what resonates. And you don't take it personally if you don't get a good response. Just keep getting better and iterating on that, and you'll find something that clicks. So, and then again, just keep in mind that most roofing contracting companies aren't doing, here we are getting into 2020. Most companies still aren't doing much online effectively. So you're going to have a huge advantage if you just get out there in front.
All right. So you've said it a few times now. I want to like drive it home to these guys because I think they can maybe relate it to something else in their business. All of us, you said it, we're a sales-driven organization in this industry and what we do, and we all have a sales champion if we're any good. That sales manager, sales director, chief sales officer, whatever that person is, we've got this champion that's constantly pushing and getting after it, and hopefully he's recruiting, training, and coaching and doing what champions should do, and pushing and driving that business. In my time at AccuLinks as the director of sales there, we were looking for a CRM champion, this person that got behind it, held people accountable to it, taught, trained, coached, that type of thing. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is each one of these companies need to have a marketing champion, somebody that's looking at that and pushing that agenda for that business that aligns with its overall vision. Am I catching that correctly?
I never thought of it that way, but that's absolutely true. Like, when my team and I get on the phone with a prospective client, like, we'll do some research on them beforehand, and then we'll get on the phone and be like, all right, well, someone in your company's doing marketing. Who is it? Is it you, or is it a marketing manager? Because you can tell. You can tell when there's someone that is waking up and is being the marketing champion every day. So yeah, find that person, whether it's you as the owner, whether it's a spouse, an office admin who has a few hours per week, a son or a daughter who might be in college. Like, that can be a good resource if you're small. Local interns from universities. We've had, local interns here in New Jersey. It's awesome. So yeah, I mean, someone, and don't, get it out of your head that this has to be very expensive. It's more about just understanding it and doing the fundamentals.
So we got some questions here. Let's roll through a few of those if that's okay with you. You good with it?
Oh yeah, I love questions.
All right, awesome. So is it better to encourage your salespeople to build their own brand to develop leads, or for them to pump up the company in general?
I would say the latter. The company, the sum of the parts is going to be greater than each individual part, the synergy, right? So I would say it's great for people to go out there and be doing videos and posting on social media and things like that, and maybe even having their own little landing pages, maybe within your website as a sales rep. But ultimately, your brand is got to be kind of flowing through everything that people in your company do, in my opinion. There are exceptions, of course. If it's like the vagabond salesperson who's with a different company every year, then sure, go out and build your own brand. We do have a couple clients who are in that boat, actually. But it's just going to be so much stronger because, listen, your prospective clients are going online. They're going to be looking for reviews. They're going to be looking at Better Business Bureau, Facebook, all these different things. And so you want to have as many like reviews and good mentions and on your company as possible. For a homeowner to say hire like a sales guy, there's just not going to be as much trust there as if that person is not backed by like an entire company and a strong brand. It's going to build that trust. So it's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think that kind of relates a little bit to sales, right? Like, hopefully, all these contractors that are on here have some type of system that they teach to their salespeople to follow this process, this pattern as you're working with our clients. And and we get that in our training. We kind of start with that. We say, this is who we are and this is how we should do it. But every one of us kind of makes it our own a little bit, kind of puts our own little personal spin on that. I would think it'd be the same with marketing. Like, hey, this is our brand. This is what we want it to be. These are the things and components that you have to have. Now, to put your own little pizzazz to it, put your own little sizzle to it. Maybe you do something different. Like, you every time you do a video, you're on a ladder and that's your thing, or
Yeah.
you're up on a roof giving some kind of sign like that, or doing a dab, or whatever it is that you do. You can make it personal, but it still needs to live within our brand. Would that be a good approach?
I totally agree. Yeah, it's like the guy I mentioned before, the company owner in the Midwest, who's he's personally not on social media himself, but he knows his company's big and 20 million and growing, and that he knows that they need to have like a cohesive brand that everyone's kind of following those guidelines, but of course, putting in their own personal flair, if you will. But yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
All right, we got one more from Brooke. Brooke, thank you for the question.
Got a couple
Which
more there.
This is a tough one. I always wonder what the answer to this one's going to be. Which social media platform is the best for marketing your company?
The one where people are hanging out. So right now, if I don't know what type of company you are, Brooke, but I'm going to assume contracting, maybe roofing. Um, so right now, Facebook. Well, let's not skip over Google. Google's still very relevant. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Those are going to be like the three. Instagram is becoming increasingly popular with homeowners, people in their 30s and 40s and 50s. So definitely don't discount that. Facebook for sure, and then LinkedIn. I mean, people are on LinkedIn for business, but what most of us forget is that we're all still people. So like I might be on there for business, but I'm still a person. So it doesn't mean that I can't be marketed to as a homeowner as well. And then LinkedIn is going to be gigantic for B2B opportunities. So if you're in like commercial, multifamily, if you're looking to form strategic alliances with other business owners in your area, maybe it's realtors, maybe it's insurance agents, other professionals, LinkedIn is going to be huge. So those are, on social wise, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then of course on Google, make sure that you have your best foot forward with awesome reviews, a nice website that's designed to build trust and convert visitors into leads and everything like that. And then, if you're very limited, I would just say, if you can't do all those, which, we're a smaller business too, it's hard to go all in on all those, but just pick one and go all in. And if you're a residential roofing contractor, say, just as an example, I'd have to say Facebook right now, as we get 2019, 2020, I think that's going to be the best bang for your buck.
I thought I was going to have to twist your arm there for a second. I was going to give you that. If somebody twist your arm and say which one's the best one, but yeah, you gave it to them. And sometimes the best one is the one that fits you best too, right? Like this, some people aren't comfortable with going on Facebook because they've got all their friends, they have their business people, but creating a persona on like Instagram and taking pictures of all your projects and shooting little videos out there in front, if that's your jam and you like it, you're going to believe in it more and probably put more effort into it. And so take that into consideration as you're looking at your different social media platforms and what you want to really go all in on. And there is one more question. You were right. I missed it. And I didn't want to miss it. And I think it's also Brooke. Yeah, it is. So what is the biggest bang for your buck in marketing? So she put in little quotes like Marketing Mondays or something like that.
Yeah, okay. I think I get like what's the thing like if you have a theme or something. I mean, video, we've already said that. Telling stories about your projects, I'm gonna go there. Telling stories about your projects and what you're doing. So if it's like involving client testimonials on video, which are amazing, I know very difficult to get, but using those, because what happens is people in your market, they want to see that you've done business with people that are like them. It's like, oh, I'm just like Mrs. Jones in that video they just showed. Like, I'm gonna call these guys. They look very trustworthy. So, um, Yeah, I mean, marketing Mondays, that could be cool, but it's got to be interesting, something that people are really looking forward to. We used to do whiteboard Wednesdays. We did actually Monday morning marketing this summer. We did a series on that. So that can be cool, just kind of have a theme around some things like that. But biggest bang for your buck is going to be video content and telling stories about your team, about your projects. Um, yeah, hope that helps.
Yeah, so I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Joseph is going to be at our contractor strategy conference. I twisted his arm, convinced him, talked to him, begged him, pleaded him, and he's going to show up and he's going to have a day where he's going to be speaking and talking about developing that marketing strategy, like sitting down and actually doing it, developing that strategy, and talking about how you might build campaigns and stuff like that. And so if that's something that you're interested in, you want to like get like hands on and work on that kind of stuff, you can always join us there. And you can always get a hold of him as well. We'll get you his contact information at the end of this. So I got a couple more questions for you, if that's okay. You guys okay with
Sure.
more questions? And feel free to ask your own because I will check in on them as we go through this. And we're good for a few more minutes, though, right?
I'm
Good.
all good.
All
Yeah.
right, cool. We're getting lots of interaction, so let's keep it
Great.
going. Um, Now that we understand strategy better, what are some of the tactics? We talked about some of that, the video and the storytelling. Is there anything else that tactically you see contractors being successful with, and maybe the most unique thing that you've seen?
Okay. Okay. So tactically, I would say, uh, doing a better job of handling and managing the leads that you're getting in. So we all want to get, the fresh leads in the door, the hot leads, and we put a lot of time and money and effort into that. But the companies that we see that are doing the best with marketing in general, it's not just like lead gen, it's a whole marketing system. So getting lead in the door, if say it comes in at 11 o'clock at night, you're not obviously calling that person, but you can have a system on the back end where that homeowner, that prospect is getting an email automatically. They're getting a text message. Maybe they're getting a series of emails to really just all those touch points help to build that know, like, and trust. And then if you have, if you're setting appointments and if you're in, a CRM that allows you to do this, this is, even better to automate. Someone schedules an appointment with you for Tuesday. Imagine how effective it would be if someone set an appointment with you on Friday and the appointment was next Tuesday. And in that time period, that prospect got 3 or 4 emails and a couple text messages from your company, adding some value, showing some video testimonials, giving them some education so that by the time you show up for that appointment on Tuesday, there's a whole lot of trust built right there. There's a whole lot of differentiation done between your company and maybe the 2 or 3 other companies that they call.
That's fantastic. Like
They're
this is
seeing
the
you in their inbox every day. Damn it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good. That's fantastic. This What's great about technology today is we can automate a lot of things. We can use it to build trust and help even encourage that reputation more before we get out there. It takes a little time. There's no doubt about it. But it's what's cool about it is it's something you only have to do once. And once you have it done, being very proactive, you don't have to be so reactive on the back end of why aren't we closing more deals and achieving more appointments and having better success. You can start to measure those a little bit better. So that's pretty cool. And so I'm going to ask you two things, two more
Mm-hmm.
questions. I know there's only one on there, but the one is a surprise question. And so before I ask the
Uh-oh.
surprise question, I want to everybody get your contact information. How do people contact you if they wanted to talk more with you about strategy and how they might be able to develop their strategy? I mean, we're not here to sell Contractor Dynamics, but there's probably a few people here that went, "Huh, that guy kind of knows what he's talking about. Maybe I should talk to him." And so, if they want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Sure. So our website is contractordynamics.com. Uh, and so you can go there. There's a couple free training videos there that you can check out. And if you do want to learn more about this stuff, I put a link in there. I don't know if you can see that. That's just for panelists. Contractordynamics.com /call, CALL. And just go to that page and you can set up a call with me or or Alex or Dan on our team, and we can kind of give you some strategy, give you some insight on how all this stuff works, give you some feedback on how this might work in your business, and give you some more clarity for 2020. So those are probably the best ways. And then you can find us on Facebook, Contractor Dynamics. I'm posting more on my personal Facebook, Joseph Hughes. So any of those channels.
Awesome. So while all that was going on, we got some more questions here.
Cool.
And, one from a guy we know. So John, this question comes from Facebook. John Dye. I met with a contractor this morning. He has no clue where to even start. He knows he needs to develop a marketing plan, but where should he start? I would say come to the Contractor Strategy Conference. We'll help him do that. But that's not what we're here for. Where should somebody start in developing a marketing strategy?
Yeah, I was going to say, just contact me now. Where should they start? I mean, so this is probably, I'm going to guess, John, that this is a guy who is, a guy who's been in business and, sales, and now he's like, all right, it's 2020, I need to get this marketing piece in place, which is what we see a lot of. Man, that's a tough question, because you don't want to overwhelm someone like that as far as where they should start. But I would say, as far as a marketing plan, just get really clear. A guy like this sounds like he's been in business a little bit, maybe. Get really clear again on what they want, what he wants, what types of clients and projects, and then start to build your game plan around that. Like, where are those people hanging out? Like, are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they at the country club? Are they reading the local, high-end local magazine? Can you throw maybe a local seminar to educate some people like that? Just figure out those ideal clients. Where are they? Like, where's their attention? And then how can you get your video out there, your video content out there, to get them to know who you are? It's hard to say without much more context. I don't know if you have anything else on that, Jim.
I do have a little bit.
Sure.
My first question would be, why do you want a marketing plan? And you just say, why do you want one? Let's understand that first. Where is that coming from? Why are you calling me? Let's assess this. Are you wanting a marketing plan to get better reputation, brand knowledge? Are you wanting to do lead generation? What kind of budget do you have? That's all going to play into the factor of what does this strategy look like? That's why we're going to take this time over 4 days, and one of those days being marketing focused at our strategy conference, because those are the big questions that you have to have a really solid assessment of what this person's actually after, why they're after it, and how they're going to execute it before you can say this is your strategy. And so I would say the why is first, the what is next, and then the how is last. If you read the book by Simon Sinek, Start With Why, he'll kind of give you that same guidance. That's kind of where we got it from. Because if other people can understand why you're doing something, they'll want to get more involved in it than just the how you do something. So that would be my advice on that particular aspect. There was another question here. When spending money on your website to build leads, what is a good cost per lead number that one should be shooting for? Great question.
Okay. 0. Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. So spending money on your website, I'm going to assume maybe you mean like your entire web presence, whoever asked this question. So what's a good cost per lead? I mean, it depends. It depends on, if you're doing a 20 square shingle job or you're doing a copper and slate high-end specialty job. Think about it this way. Here's a way to think about it. Let's take a step back. What is your whatever your ideal client project is, what is that project worth to you in terms of revenue? What's your gross profit on that? What's your net profit on that? Know your numbers, as I know Jim's a big fan of. Know your numbers. So what is your profit on that job, on that client? And then kind of work into it that way. Okay, if your average roof is say $15,000 and your profit is say, just call it $3,000, $5,000. I was going to say 5, but I didn't want to sound too greedy there. So $5,000. So, theoretically, you should be able to spend up to $5,000 to acquire that project. Now, of course, you're not going to spend $4,999 to make $5,000, to make $1. but somewhere in that range is going to be, you know, what you're going to pay to get a client, to get a project. So, say you kind of work backwards, and you know that every 3 appointments that you set and that you go to, that you're going to sell one job. Okay, so now you need 3 appointments for one job. And then you can work backwards again and say, all right, well, I need 6 leads in the door to get 3 appointments to give me that one job. So you take, say you're willing to spend $1,000 to get a roofing project. Now you're a sixth of that. So out of every 6 leads, you're getting one roof. So that's what, $167 per lead there. So it depends on your business. I can't give you a number. But that's kind of the logic that you can work through to make that happen. And this comes from Frank Kern again. Like, the companies that win are the companies that are willing to outspend their competitors to buy customers. So once you have a solid strategy, you can go out there and outspend your competitors to get as many as you want.
Yeah, so I kind of look at it the same way. It's kind of two questions, right? There's the one that's more important to me than my lead cost is my cost of acquisition, right?
Right.
Like I can get all the leads in the world, but if I don't have anybody that can close them, my cost of acquisition goes through the roof. So I would usually say, hey, whatever your gross profit is, somewhere between 5 and 10% of that gross profit is kind of a spot where you want to at least fall into for cost of acquisition, and then look at your closing percentages on that thing. So let's say your cost of acquisition is $500, and it takes you you close 1/3 of the people you talk to. If you divide 500 by 3, I think that comes to $133.33 a piece is what your leads would cost to get that particular job. It'd take you $500 worth of leads to get that particular job, and that's probably the way I would look at that. It has a lot to do with I'll pay more for a lead if my guys can close because my cost of acquisition goes down. So all of this works holistically together. We
Yes.
got another question here. I've been shy to post on our YouTube because we don't edit much. Thoughts? Should we just post them anyways with fingers crossed people enjoy the content? Can I
Okay.
start with that one? Can I start with that one?
Oh yeah, sure.
So this is from Jeff. Jeff, look at me, man. I am not going to win any beauty contests anytime soon. I don't have any kind of professional setup or anything like that. I do have a couple of lights, I won't lie, and I got a little microphone, I got that, but I don't have some professional guy here. And to be honest, I think that is a little tired. I think that's a little overproduced. I think that's not real or genuine or authentic. And people want to work with people would be my suggestion to you. Even the edits and stuff like that, that's actually easy to do and something you can learn in probably about an hour on a tool called Camtasia. If you write that down, you can just upload your video and make edits really simply. But man, be real, be you. I could not give you more advice than that. Is to just be you, and you will align with people that are like you that want to work with you. So yeah, man, don't. There's no fingers crossed. There's no cross. They're gonna watch. They're gonna go, hey, that guy's pretty cool. He seems just like me, like my neighbor. I'll invite that guy over. What do you think, Joseph?
Yeah, I mean, you got it. You nailed it. Authenticity is where it's at, right? People can. There's so much junk out there. People can do the sniff test and figure that out. So be authentic. Like if your intent is there, that's going to show through on video. Just like that's why Jim and I are connected right here on this because we, seen each other's content. We know that we align well in business and ethics and everything like that. So that's going to shine through and just be real. And don't what's it called? Analysis paralysis. Don't be paralyzed by overanalyzing this. Get yourself out there. And the biggest thing is just be valuable. So, don't get on there and do like a stream of consciousness and look at the ceiling and try to think about what to say. Just be aware and respectful of people's time and attention. And you want to make, like I said, before you press publish or press post or go live, whatever it is, make sure that you're providing value, that it's going to be worth someone's time to watch your content. Even if it's free monetarily, they're investing their time, which is arguably more valuable. So go for it, man, and share your
Yeah.
results. Share your channel so we can keep you accountable here.
Yeah, as long as it's ethical, moral, and right, there's nothing wrong with any video you do. So just stick with that, and you'll probably be okay. Brooke has a question here on videos where you're filming on a roof. It's hard to hear via phone video. Do you use a video camera, that type of thing? It's actually funny that she asked that. I wonder if I have mine handy. You go ahead and answer that question, John, and maybe I can grab this real quick and kind of show her what I use.
Cool. Brooke, good questions. Thank you. Yes, so people will forgive bad video, but they will not forgive bad audio. I hope you guys forgave me because my audio was coming through a little choppy at the top of this webinar. But yeah, if you're on a roof, if you're outside, there's definitely going to be wind. We use what's called a Rode lavalier mic. I put that in the chat there if anyone's Braden's watching there. RODE, you can find on Amazon. The one that we use is about $60. They do go up to several hundred for the more professional ones, but a Rode microphone, I have it in the other office. It'll clip onto your shirt, a lapel, and then you plug it directly into your smartphone. So you get much better sound. A good one's going to cut down on that wind. But yeah, I mean, great question because you need to have good sound. Got it? Oh, whoa,
Look
that's
at there.
fancy.
Like super high
Yeah,
check, huh? No, this is, I think this thing was maybe 45 bucks, maybe. It's got the
awesome.
handhold thing on it. It's got a little bracket here. So this is actually a light. Let's check it out. Watch this. You guys, see, look at that. I got a light on it, got a light
It's
on
a
my face.
studio.
And
Yeah.
it's got the windsock on it. And if it's really heavy wind, you got the other windsock you can put on it. Works fantastically, plugs right into my camera. And it does a great job of catching. I did it on a really windy day, winds gusts like 25 miles an hour here, and it did a very good job of that. So this thing is called a Movo, MOVO, and the model number is DSE4. That's all I know.
Movo. Okay. Someone's got it in the, looks
And
like,
what we'll do is everybody that's on here, we'll put this on the Facebook live post, and we'll send it to you guys that registered for the webinar, and I'll get you the actual like purchase link for it. Okay,
cool.
awesome. Let's see what else we got for questions. Any other questions?
Jim, someone was asking in the Q&A section on Zoom, the details for the seminar.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. So details. What are the details for Lisa? Okay. We're not here to sell that, but I will give you some brief details. You can go to contractorstrategyconference.com, and that'll give you everything you want to know. There's all the agenda, where it's located, some of who our special guests are. There is a component to this that we have not really broadcast out there just yet, that each night of the event is, and all I can say about it is it's going to be an experience, right? So we're going to take a couple hours after we work together and develop our strategies, and we're going to hopefully give you some leadership culture and some learning experiences that you can maybe take back home with you, and you enjoy quite a bit. We're working hard to make this not just your conference, like go and sit and listen to a bunch of people lecture. We're not doing that at all. You're going to have like this much lecture and this much. Let's get to work. We got questions. We got to build strategy. You're going to walk away with a strategy at the very end that's literally on a document that you can carry around with you, dog ear it, get coffee stains on it, follow it all year long to say, hey, this is where I'm headed. This is where I want to be. How exactly am I going to get there? And we're gonna put those plans together. We've been doing it now for 4 years, and last year the attendees pretty much demanded that we go, hey man, 2 days is not enough. We want 4 days, and we're gonna work in leadership, culture, finance, marketing, sales in both residential and commercial, and then recruiting, hiring, and onboarding, and bringing all those strategies together holistically after this big thing that you're after. So yeah, it should be cool. Contractorstrategyconference.com. You can also email me at headcoach@contractorcoachpro.com, and we can help you out there as well. So hopefully that got that. Thanks for bringing that question up because I didn't see that. Appreciate it.
It was hidden there.
All right, cool. Any other questions?
One of the questions that you asked and we had to get a chance to answer, Jim, was the most unique strategy for marketing. this isn't really a tactic. It's more of a strategy, but I had the chance to hang out with a roofing company owner in California a couple weeks ago. And they are big on CSR, which is corporate social responsibility. And it's kind of part of their mission. And they partnered with Ronald McDonald House. They partnered with some other local charitable organizations. And they do it because the owner and the team believe in it. But he told me, he's like, there's not been anything that's been better for building our brand and marketing and bringing on customers than those initiatives. And again, they're not doing those charitable things to get leads or anything like that. That's, people can see through that, right? But it's a byproduct of doing those things and being involved in the community and supporting local organizations and things like that. So he was very passionate about it. And so I thought that was really cool. It's, being a part of your local community is great on so many levels, and it can really help you grow your business and also recruit the types of people that want to be a part of something awesome like that.
Man, that's fantastic. We're the same thing. We give back a lot. That's what we're all about here. Not just to our industry and the contractors, but MS is really big for us. My mom has MS, so we do a lot with that. We also get involved in some local things with schools and things like that. Um, I look at it this way, and if there's one thing that if anybody ever got this about me and that I could share with them that I hope changes their life, is it's not about greed and power and wealth. It's about serving your fellow man. And if you go that way, you'll have more success and there'll be more benefit to you than you could ever imagine as long as you do it for them and not for you. That's the difference. And if you get nothing else out of this today, all these marketing tactics and all that other stuff, you can just follow that path. And if I can see more people follow that path, I think we'll all get along just a hair bit better. So, hey, we're still getting questions. Are you good?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's
like,
grab some coffee here.
yeah, these guys are like, hey, we want to talk marketing today. So this is from Jake Dempsey. I think Scott in Colorado does great with his ice cream truck, and Heath in Texas with all his charitable work, his catch-all and that kind of stuff. Those things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he does do a fantastic job. How worried should one be about convoluting your message across the platforms?
Cool. Just to go back on Jake's comment, yeah, those guys are awesome. The guy I was referring to before is Charles Antis Roofing, Antis, Roofing in California. Really cool. Go check out their site. They're doing some really cool things. He's very involved in the NRCA as well. So how worried should you be about convoluting your message across all platforms? So I think it's simple enough in this day and age with technology to have the same message. I mean, it takes you a couple hours to go through all your platforms and make sure everything looks the same. You have the same logo, the same company name. I mean, believe it or not, like, we'll bring on clients and like, it's like, dude, what's the name of your company? Cause you have like this logo here, you have this logo there. Like, do you have a company color? Like that sort of thing. Everything should be congruent because that helps you. It helps you establish trust. Like, what do you stand for? Who are you? So I think it's just simple enough to make sure that everything is consistent across your platforms. And on that note, from a technology perspective, make sure that you own everything. So, and have access to it. So if you're the contracting company owner, make sure that you own your domain name, make sure you own your website, make sure you have own your Facebook page. Like all those things are assets for your business that you can control. So don't give up control of those things. Hope that answers that question.
Let's go ahead and finish up. We've asked a lot of questions. We've gotten a lot from this. Hopefully you guys thought this was great. So I got one last question for you. And whenever I first started with you, I asked you, what's the biggest thing you've ever achieved, right?
Mm-hmm.
For that? Okay. So what's the biggest thing you want to achieve?
Let's see. Man, Friday afternoon. Come
Yeah.
on. All
Let's
right.
finish
So
strong, man. Finish strong.
so the biggest thing I want to achieve, let's see, aside from family, let's say business wise, we help Contractor Dynamics helps roofing and contracting companies, build out marketing systems and grow their businesses. I see that as, I'm in this for the long haul. I've been in business 7 years and we'll be in business at least another 7 years. Um, in addition to that, kind of the next level that I'd like to get to personally is helping. Maybe it's mentoring entrepreneurs, mentoring men on how to like have it all. We just was at a conference last week. You might have heard of it, RoofCon in Nashville. Hunter Ballou and his team ran it, and it really was about like your life and your business and your legacy. And we touched on things like relationships and your health and your wellness and your mindset, things like that. And the older that I get, the more experience I've gotten, the more I realize how important those things are. Like making sure that your mind is right, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, and they all go together. So I think for me, like the biggest thing I want to accomplish is really, not only improving people's businesses, but going a level deeper and helping them improve their lives. Not sure exactly what that looks like at this point in time, but that's kind of the next step for me personally, I think.
We are quite aligned there. So maybe we can have a sidebar about that. I kind of have some
Cool.
things on my mind I've been thinking about along
Oh,
that
cool.
vein. And we do some of that already with our coaching. We do work on the personal level as well as the health level and some of those things when it fits for our client. But we want to take that to the next step too. So maybe
Oh,
that's something
cool.
we can talk about.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So let me make sure there's not any other questions. There is not. Joseph, man, high fives. Well done. There we go. Good job. We appreciate having you on today. Thank you for taking your Friday afternoon. I know it's later there than it is here. It's 4:38 there. It's time to go home, visit with the family, I hope. Maybe wrap a couple things up with business before you do that. Have a great weekend. We've enjoyed having you here at the Contractors Training Room. And maybe we'll have you back here pretty soon. Hope to have you along again.
Would love to. It's been a pleasure. It's had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Cool. We'll see you in a month at Contractor Strategy Conference.
All right. See you there, everyone.
All right. Bye, guys.